Hey everybody, and welcome back to the channel. I attended Amazon Accelerate 2025 in September. It was like the middle of September, and I wanted to do a quick little video just to kind of talk about some of the things that were mentioned and what I thought of the actual event. This was my second year attending. First year, well, I've attended virtually for a couple of years. I've attended in person now my second year. First year, they did a lot around sustainability and what they were doing to launch the new electric trucks that do the deliveries for Prime, which I'm sure you've seen. My area now, I think, is almost fully switched over. I've only seen one or two like regular gas vehicles. Just earlier, I saw an electric Prime truck driving around the neighborhood. So I think they've been able to accelerate, for lack of a better term, their drive to sustainability, and they have hit their targets early in that aspect. Last year they did have one of the electric trucks at the show, and they had one of their electric Freightliners. So it was cool to see those and just kind of meet everybody for the first time. It is a little overwhelming. There's about 2,000 or so people there, and Amazon basically takes over the convention center and everything in downtown Seattle. So this year they didn't have the trucks, but they did have an Amazon ads like raceway thing, which I ended up not doing, but they always give us really cool swag. That's where this came from. And they do a really good job with the food. If you're someone like me, I have celiac disease. They actually offer a lot of food options, and you just have to double check and make sure they get you on the right list. But they do a really great job in trying to make the events accessible for everyone. There were a lot more stages this year inside the expo, like Partner Connect area. So they have all the ballrooms and breakouts for trainings. They have the general sessions, but they added some more, like, I don't know what you call it, partner stages inside the expo hall to have more like 15-minute talks. So they've kind of talked about, you know, Helium 10 will have one, or I think Flywheel was one of the others, Perpetua. Like, they'll all have like a little quick talk about different things. Some were about lending money, like getting loans to grow your business. Others were about their software or whatever they like, their specialty. And then even like the Fulfilled by Merchant team had a 15-minute talk. So a lot of different things that you could go to and learn about. The kind of partner stage that was specific to like a seller spotlight kind of thing was different brand owners got to talk about their business, how they got started on Amazon, and kind of why. I mean, there was one woman, and I can't remember the name of the company. I'll have to drop it down here. Her parents started a business, and her mom was selling wigs, and this was back in like the 60s and 70s, I believe. But they started selling wigs. They realized that wigs were kind of trending out. A lot of women wore wigs apparently back then. So they were trending out. They started offering other things for salons. So they offered like tools and like electric tools like perm equipment or hairbrushes, straighteners, blow dryers, that kind of stuff. And as they sold to these salons, they noticed that the salons were starting to list some of the stuff on Amazon, but not at a rate that they wanted it to be sold at. It was cheaper than what the like regular MSRP kind of price would be. So they started and reluctantly at first set up their own Amazon storefront to kind of control how their brand was being perceived. And now they sell just as much on Amazon as they do any other way, probably more. So it really propelled their business to a whole new level. But she kind of talked about their whole story. It was kind of neat to hear. They had some little freebie giveaways for us to take, and it was cool to kind of hear their story. So there's that as well. There was a couple of like, I'm gonna call them make and takes, because that's what I as a crafter brand owner would call it. There was Hemlock and Oak. If you don't know them, they have candles. The company was started during the pandemic, and the original owner started making candles because he wanted something to do. So he bought a bunch of supplies and started making them in his his home, and now it has grown into a multi-million-dollar business. So initially he was handmade. I don't know if he was actually registered as handmade, but they are not registered that way now. So they definitely have kind of a signature scent, and we got to make our own signature scents, and we walked away with like a body roller, I think like a bath salts kind of thing, and something else. I can't remember what the other thing was, but there was like three takeaways. A room spray, that's what it was. So we got to take those and glean a little insight from them. And it was a great way to network with a lot of other people that were there also doing the make and take kind of. So that was fun. But the main highlights, I would say, as a takeaway that I had and things that I got really excited about, not just all the training and new things that I learned. Last year, I went with some very specific things in mind. I had questions I wanted to ask people. There were certain people I wanted to meet with. This year, I kind of went in without an agenda. I kind of thought about it ahead of time, and I was like, there's not really anything, one specific thing that I want to like have a conversation with. Like whoever I run into is who I run into. I wrote down like my, I guess, top 5 things that I kind of walked away with that I'm excited to see change. A lot of the stuff they talk about is for independent sellers. A lot of the business that Amazon does is by independent sellers. I think they said over 60 to 75% of the items that are sold on Amazon are sold by independent sellers. Amazon has a portion of the business. Most of that is the books, but everything else has, you know, they have Amazon Essentials or Amazon Basics, but a lot of that is specific brand owners and small businesses that make up the marketplace. Let's talk about the number one thing. When I wouldn't consider this like really number one, I just kind of wrote them down to come up with them. So the first thing that kind of came to mind was there's a new like vacation / holiday setting that's coming. Currently right now, there's holidays that are pre-baked into Seller Central, and that's like Christmas Day, Thanksgiving Day, all the like normal American holidays. And you can check it off as to whether or not you're going to be open on that day or not. Mail doesn't run that day, obviously, but they give you the option of to say whether or not you're actively working in the back end, shipping orders if you're going to be available. Current setting for vacation mode, when you turn vacation mode on, turns off all your fulfilled by merchant listings, and you can't make any sales. So the change that they're making is adding the ability for you to do your own holidays. Say you have just a weekend that you're going to be at the beach, you're going to be back on Monday, you can fulfill orders on Monday, you can go into the back end of the system, say that you're going to be on a holiday, and set it up to where your listings will still be active, and it will calculate your ship time based on those dates that you like bake into the back end in Seller Central. So that's a fun option, because definitely we all need some time away, especially as small business owners, to be able to step away and rejuvenate and rest, and maybe even just have a day to do other things in your business. So that is a great option, I think, that they're adding, that they finally heard all the feedback that we need another way to schedule in some downtime without having to put everything on vacation mode. The second thing that I thought about was there's going to be a new workflow for send to Amazon. And I think this was, other than the vacation thing, I think this was like my most favorite thing that they're adding. Is that even like proper grammar? Probably not. But my most favorite thing is that this new workflow will allow you to tell them what you're sending in, and they will tell you how to package it. So it kind of like flip-flops the way the normal workflow is. So right now you tell them which items you're sending in, and you tell them how you're boxing it, and then they tell you where to ship it to. So the way this is going to work, and my understanding is that this will become, you tell them what you're sending, you tell them you want the lowest inbound fee because now they're charging the inbound fees, and they will tell you how to package it to get the lowest rate. That is definitely helpful, especially for handmade or very small businesses with 1 or 2 people doing it. I think the larger businesses don't really have this problem, but they said we understand that you can't always case pack, or it doesn't make sense to send in 200 of something that may not sell through in a specific amount of time, or you have very seasonal items, like if it's Christmas items, you're only going to send those in like September and October, and they're only going to be there for a short period of time. So this gives a little more flexibility of how things are packaged and where they go. So I think that was probably the biggest one for the crowd in general. I think everyone was super excited to hear that one. I heard some whoops and hollers about that. So that one's a fun one. The third thing that I thought of was the new, and I don't know how new it really is, but it's the Amazon Ads like marketing cloud. There's a new like section inside ads that allows you to see more information. It has more breakdown on customer behavior and more about ad relevance and keywords and how things are interacted with. You can do with ads, you can do sponsored products, sponsored display, sponsored brand. You can do just show up higher in the search rankings. You can do videos, like all the different things. That has a lot more data in it, and they're sharing a lot more data with their sellers, which I think that is going to be helpful as I lean more into ads and try to optimize the ads that I'm running, getting more information about how to target, who to target, and where to put my targeting. So right now I'm just kind of sticking with sponsored products and showing up higher in the search results. This would allow me to see like what has been left in cart and how long it's left there before a purchase is made and that kind of thing. So there's more like back end information that they're giving us that they weren't giving us before. There's also, as far as ads goes, thing that popped up for me, and I was actually there. When I saw it, I was like, that's odd. And I was standing there waiting to talk to the girl at the desk for Amazon Ads about the Marketing Cloud stuff, because there was a session about it, which I should be able to get to now, like virtually. I should be able to go back and watch the replay, but I was waiting to talk to her, and I showed it to her, and she was like, this is the first time I've ever seen this. So there's a new beta where it links to like your brand's Shopify. So if you have your Shopify linked to Buy with Prime or anything like that, they're actually starting to put like on the mobile app in feed search, like there was a box that said beta, and I'll try to pop the picture up. It said like beta and said, purchase this item for me. It was like an AI integration thing, and it was very interesting. And it actually would like, instead of trying to send me off site, I was able to like, I didn't click it, but if I had clicked it, it was gonna like have AI purchase it for me from my Shopify site, which was very interesting because she said she hadn't seen that aspect of it yet. She's only seen like the, hey, see more from this brand kind of thing. I'm curious to see where that ends up. Like Amazon typically doesn't want their sellers to push people off the Amazon platform, but she said they were trying to build trust with their sellers and with their brands and actually show customers that we have a website and we're actually a brand. I think a lot of people, like everything else, we went through a phase with Etsy where they're like, oh, I ordered it on Etsy. And it's like, no, you didn't order it from Etsy. You ordered it from a creative shop owner that has a shop on Etsy. So they don't understand, the general public, I would say, doesn't understand the way marketplaces work in general. So they'll say, oh, I bought it on Amazon. And it's like, well, you didn't really buy it. You bought it on Amazon, but you didn't buy it from Amazon. And I think that's a misnomer that some people have and don't understand marketplaces. Neither here nor there. I got to talk to them about Marketing Cloud and some of the things in the back end, and it's a lot of research. And I wish I had more time to just sit and play, because there's a lot to be learned in Amazon ads and how to run them. And it's not an easy task. So that is something that I'm going to be looking more into and hopefully making a few more videos on. But that was the third thing. The fourth thing was, and this is kind of a contentious point with some people, is the new AI Creative Suite. As a seller, Amazon offers a lot of AI tools in the back end in Seller Central to help create listings. You still have to, what do we call it? Like human in the loop is what we call it at work. At my full-time job, it will help you create it, but the human still needs to review it and make sure it makes sense and make sure it's portrayed in the correct way or has the correct language, because AI will hallucinate information. So if it is pulling from two different sources and can't figure out what's right, it will just make something up. If you type in something into ChatGPT, for instance, and also give it a picture, and what you typed in and the picture kind of don't line up, it may just generate random information. I will say ChatGPT's gotten better about saying like something's not quite right and ask you questions, especially with the new like modes of like thinking or whatever, but they have built more into the back end of Seller Central, and there's a new like creative suite coming. I know Adobe has added a ton of AI stuff. Canva and Affinity have AI stuff now. It's kind of a contentious point because it's creative wise, what is it pulling from to create the creative part, not just the language of like writing words on the screen, but as it creates these videos, where's it generating from and what's it doing? I know that last year when they announced some of the new AI type things, I tried to drop a picture in of one of my items and it put a sticker sheet in the forest. So it wasn't the greatest. I'm interested to see how this is gonna work. It's supposed to work like a creative team and help you build out your listings without having to hire a bunch of creatives, different types of creatives, because you know my sister's a graphic designer and she does something very different than what a video designer does. So this is supposed to kind of help you streamline it and make it easier. I know there's a lot of contention around AI and especially generative AI, like where's it pulling from? How is it determining what to do? This is a different kind of aspect of it that I'm still not sure how I'm going to use it. I did talk to them some about it and it still seems very, I mean, as we're starting to use AI more, it's not going away. So we need to kind of lean in and figure out how's best to use it for our own business, but it's definitely something to think about with the Creative Suite, and it does help you as a, you know, I'm a one-person show. I don't make enough money to hire a creative team to help me build out my listings. How can I compete with larger brands if I don't have the capacity to be able to create things to showcase my listings? So I think there's aspects of it that will help smaller businesses grow. And I think the idea would be you use it initially to help get ideas or generate traffic to your site. And then as you can hire people, you hire people to help you build out your creative pieces to market your business. Something to keep in mind, you don't have to use it, just like everything else that has AI built in. You can turn it off. You can just ignore it and not use it. The fifth thing that was, I thought important and fun was that I got to talk to the Handmade team. The new listing experience has really thrown kind of a wrench in how our listings are put up on the website. And I wouldn't say a wrench. It's supposed to help them show up and be more searchable and more, how do I say, like available in the regular search right along with everybody else, which they were already there, but I think it's different on the back end of like how the listing is generated and how it works. So one thing to keep in mind is when we were under the Guild old style listing, there's certain things we could not do. So we couldn't do virtual bundles. We can't do remote fulfillment. It was hard. We couldn't do currency converter or the language converters for other markets. So like if I wanted to sell in Canada, they want you to list in French. I would have to do that all manually. I couldn't use any of the automated translation stuff. There's certain things that we couldn't access. So by switching our listings over to more of like the standard format, no longer in the Guild setting, then that allows us that option to be able to use some of those automated tools. That was fun to see and fun to talk to them and kind of hang out with them some more. One of the guys was there last year and they had a lot more people there this year, and we actually had Amazon Handmade was like on a sign over in the corner in like kind of in the middle, but like over to the side so that we had like our own little place to go hang out. That was fun. And I did see some other handmade sellers. I didn't really get to talk to many of them, but there were other handmade sellers there. And I guess kind of my bonus takeaway, doing this 2 years in a row in person, I've gotten to see how it grew. Last year, we only got the Museum of Pop Culture and kind of that outside area, like on that side. This year they actually expanded out and we got to go up in the Space Needle as well. It has definitely grown. It lends itself for a lot of networking if you want to talk with other sellers and kind of get, everybody's there to try to grow their business, right? Or sell more. Gave you a place to kind of talk and get different perspectives from different sellers in totally different areas of the world. There's that. Like I said, they do a really good job with the food and it's just, I found it fun. I mean, I enjoy going. I go by myself. I have my own hotel room and that kind of thing, but it's fun to kind of hang out with some of the other people that are there. And I never talked to the same person twice, really. They did have some other networking opportunities with other women business owners. They had a thing where you could talk with other people in your area. So like they had like a Southeast US, Northeast US. It was really not well managed. So that was one thing that I'd want to see changed. But other than that, I thought the networking ideas were good and I liked sitting down with some other women-owned businesses and kind of hearing about what they do and how they got started. It's just kind of fun to sit and hear how all the businesses get started on Amazon. But that is what I have for you today. I hope you enjoyed this video and I'll catch you in the next one. Bye.